Hello and welcome to Can Do Conversations Q&A edition. I am Cheryl Williams, the Can Do Mom.
I'm CJ Williams, the Can Do Dad. Thank you for being here.
Welcome, guys. We are happy to have you here for our Q&A episode that we love doing, because these are your questions that you send in to us, and so we want to answer them for you. So we appreciate each and every one of you that sends in your questions. We're not able to get to all of them. However, we get to a majority of them.
We pick the best ones.
We're like, okay, which ones are we kind of have a lotto sometimes. Like, how are we going to choose? Okay, yeah, this one kind of like that one. So let's put those together and so we love your participation. It helps us. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do this segment of the Can Do Conversations show. So we appreciate you guys. And thank you so much for sharing the show and telling your friends and family about it. That helps us out tremendously. That's how we're able to grow. And, we're here each and every day for you that we do these episodes. And so we're just here, wanting to give value and help as many, husbands and wives and mothers and fathers and families and just make an impact. And so we appreciate you sharing it out and letting other people know so we can continue to, do what we do and make an impact as well. So thank you so much for that. And without further ado, we are going to jump right into it. Your questions. So first question is, what are some ways to make the holiday season less stressful?
Doing stuff ahead of time, being on schedule, and getting your shopping done early.
And I think another thing that can help with that goes along those lines is sometimes you gotta choose. Like, what are the things that you really want to do versus what are the things that you feel obligated to do? What are the things that you definitely want to do with your family or with your children to create those memories, right?
Have an idea of what you want to do already.
Right, but what are some of those things that, you said yes to, but now as we're getting closer to it, you've got a lot of things and you've only got so much time. If you have 3 events going on, on the weekends, each Saturday and Sunday, and then you have Friday nights and Thursday nights, and it's a lot. That's what makes it stressful, is trying to do too much, trying to be all things to all people. And so you need to look at your calendar and look at your things that you've said yes to and really look and say, do I really want to be doing that? And if the answer is no, then you need to let them know, hey, I really appreciate it, but I've got a lot of things going on. I'm going to have to take a few things off my plate. Nothing against them, right? It's for you, because this is supposed to be a time of year that you enjoy, and a time of year that you're creating memories, and a time of year that you're spending it with people that you want to be spending it with to create those memories that you want to create. And so if you have a lot of things on your plate that you're not really wanting to do, then you need to step up and say, you know what, I appreciate the invite, but I'm going to have to say no. Or, you know what, I know I said back, a few months ago, yes to this. However, I need to make myself a no. I've got to prioritize, myself and my family. People will understand if you're honest. Don't be like, I'm sick, I don't feel good. Like, start making those excuses, because then that's just a slippery slope. Own it, step up and say what it is and why you're backing out. And next year, you can do things a little bit differently. Maybe you don't say yes to everything, right? So you don't have to back out at that time. Now, don't do it the day of. That's sucky, okay? No. People are planning. People are counting on you. People are putting a meal or snacks or hors d'oeuvres, or they have a seat for you. So give them a little bit of heads up. But this is something you can do this year right now, even though we're in the swing of things, right? But then next year, plan differently. Plan accordingly, saying, you know what? I want to enjoy this time. I do want to get my shopping done early. I do want to, do these handful of things. And then I just want to enjoy the season.
Make a list. Go through your calendar.
And check it twice.
Check your calendar. When you're about to go shopping, go to the store, check your calendar of what things are coming up, what parties, what gifts you might have to get for certain people, who's coming in town, and then go through that and decide what things you have to get for each party, each thing, each little whatever you're going to have, and figure out, write down what's going to be good for that certain thing. Then when you go shopping, you have a better idea. Okay, I got everything done for the month. For all the parties, for all the get-togethers, just make a few calls to figure out what are you going to bring for this party, because if your party's in 2 weeks, you might not even know what you're going to bring. So make a few calls to get that done so you can get it all done in one day. Not maybe the gift shopping because you could do that, through Amazon or when you go gift shopping. But when you're going to the store, go ahead and get those things ahead of time, and you'll be set for the month.
Yeah, it's about planning, right? The more that you're planning these things out and that you're cognizant of the time and what you're doing, then you can. Maybe you decide, this year you're not shopping on Amazon. You're going to go to small businesses. Okay, great.
Yes.
So pick out the ones you want to go to, have your list of who you need to get for, and go and get those gifts. But do it all in the same time. Instead of saying, well, I need to go here, but shoot, I forgot this person over here. Like, look at it, take an inventory of where are you going, are you giving hostess gifts to people?
And do it early enough in the day,
early
enough in the day also. And don't attempt to do it, before 5, because certain places close at 3, 5, 7, or 9. You never know. So you might have to figure that out also.
And another thing is, I always like to have extras because, someone might show up that you weren't planning on, or maybe, someone didn't say you needed to bring something, but you still don't want to go empty-handed. So I like having a spot on the shelf or a closet devoted to gifts that are just little things that you can give out, little tokens of appreciation or something. I thought of you, or you have all your bags and your wrapping.
Great for dinner.
It's like have a surplus of things, so when those little things do come up, you already have them ahead of time. And then normally it's the little things that start getting you, right? It's the little things that start adding up. It's like, oh darn it, okay, do I have the gift cards I'm going to give out to these people? Like maybe you have people that
for your teachers
that your services are, your trash person or the person who's your housekeeper, or are you giving them bonuses? What are you doing with that? Are you giving them gift cards? Are you giving them days off? Like all of those things. And so if you can start scheduling these things out and doing, like, go shopping, let's go shopping. Okay, we're going to get all the gifts. Let's get all the gifts. I'm going to hit up these different places for that. These are the places I'm going to go to, the parties that we're going to go to. These are the things with the kids I'm going to do.
And keep them in your trunk, not in your car.
And then, don't leave things hanging out where people can see them. I would keep them at home until you need them for that time when you're going out. But when you are getting them, keep an eye, because people like to.
Yes. And also grab little kid gifts also, because the kids might be invited to a little Christmas party and you don't want them to go empty-handed. So by grabbing some kid gifts,
you have this thing already.
It doesn't cost too much. Have a few of them, and then they'll take care of that.
And so the planning, the pre-thinking, and then start thinking for next year as well. It's like, okay, how can I do things differently? So when you start getting those invites, in August and September, what are you actually going to do? Or could you book things a little sooner so that you can have those things on your calendar? I mean, we look at what are we doing as a family? Are we going on the Christmas trains? Are we going to the performances? Are we going, and doing, what are we doing? Put those things on the schedule first, and then you can kind of fill in what else you're going to do around that. And then the whole point of the season is to spend time and to enjoy. It's not to hustle and bustle and rush and do this and do that. And who can
be gone before you know it.
Who can get the most gifts and who can do this? It's like, no.
Yeah, no counting gifts.
The true meaning of the season is to spend time, to create memories, to share, to be kind, to spread love and kindness. And maybe, while you're out shopping, maybe you can grab a few extra things for someone who doesn't have something, right? Something we love to do with our kids too is like we're showing them like abundance, but we're also showing them the reality of not everybody has what we have. That's why we need to be thankful and grateful for what we do have, but we can also help somebody else, a family or someone else along the way too, to help brighten their holiday season as well.
Great question.
All right, next one. How do I find the time to learn something new with my already busy schedule?
There's always time. Time audit yourself. Figure out how much time you're sitting on the couch watching TV or how much time you're scrolling on social media. Right there will give you enough time, an extra half hour, full hour, but a good half hour to learn something daily. You'll be in good shape.
And the other thing is, like, maybe, you have the time throughout the day, and maybe that's booked up between, kids and business or work and, going to the gym and dinner, like all those responsibilities. But you have time, either you can build in time in the morning or you can build in time in the evening. And so if you're really wanting to learn something new, you can maybe carve out some time in the morning. Now, if it's a place that you need to go or someone you need to work with, then maybe you carve out some time in the middle of the day and say, this is the time I'm going to do this. Or maybe you do it in the evening, or maybe you take some time on the weekend. Like, find the time. Just like, how much time are you spending doing mindless things? How could you save time and have someone that you order your groceries and have them delivered to you. Do you pay a little bit more for that? Of course you do, right? You're paying a little bit more. However, what is your time worth to you?
Right, you could be home learning something.
So again, or you could be spending more time with your kids, or you could be, so you can find the time. Just like, could you go and do all your shopping on one day and then you have the rest of the day? Could you, plan out your meals on Sunday and prep things so you're not spending so long in the kitchen? Do it like, there's so many things that you can do. And so it's not about creating more time. It's working within the time that you have and eliminating the things that are taking a lot of time and doing that time audit and taking inventory and seeing where your time is going and how can you rein that back in so that you have more focused time on the things you're actually wanting to do.
Make sure the kids do the dishes, and when you do your meals, you can do shorter meals, stuff that won't take as long, and even have the kids help with that too.
And of course, if your kids are little, that's not going to happen. But our kids now are getting older, and so they're helping more,
help.
Right? When they're younger, they need more assistance. They can still help though, right? And sometimes that's a little frustrating too. It's like it takes longer to have. It's a good skill for them to have because eventually they're going to be able to do those things as well. And so when you start them when they're young, they can start doing more and more things.
Less complaining.
But it's also just looking at the time. We all have the same time in the day, right? Nobody has more, nobody has less. No. It's all equal. We have an equal playing field of time. And so it's what are we doing with those time? And maybe instead of blocking out a half hour for this and an hour for that, maybe you block off 15 minutes for this and 30 minutes for that or 45 minutes. Because if you had appointments or things that you're doing, and they're really only taking 45 minutes, but not an hour, but you have an hour blocked off, and so then you dink around for the other 15 minutes. Like, take your time back by carving out and making it more specific and strategic in the time blocks that you have.
Yes.
All right. How can I navigate conflicts and difficult family dynamics during this time of year?
Maybe you set boundaries and rules of what can be talked about at the dinner table. That's a hard one.
I think it's something that you have to figure out
Create your own boundaries.
Who are you willing to engage with, right? If you're going to somebody's house and it's not a good dynamic, then maybe you don't go. Or you set boundaries before you go. Or what is the purpose of going? If you're having challenges in that, maybe we work on addressing those challenges before the day that you're actually going, right? Because what happens a lot of times is there's a lot of family dynamics and challenges and things. And so it comes up when you're supposed to be hanging out in these specific times together, but then the rest of the year, it's not addressed. If you would address the things as they come up and as they occur, then they don't continue to grow and fester into bigger things. Then it's like, well, shit, now we need to spend time together, but we haven't addressed this thing from last year. It's like, well, okay, we need to address this now. So maybe carving out a little bit of time and having those conversations before would help. Maybe
not being afraid of having that conversation.
And you know what? If it's a difficult conversation to have, it's a conversation, right? You can label it hard, challenging, difficult.
Yes, get rid of that label.
Take off the label, and it's a conversation. It's a conversation that needs to be had so that everyone can enjoy the holiday season and be around one another. Now,
you'll be surprised realizing that it's not going to be as hard as you think it is.
Right. And because you have made it like, okay, it's going to be this.
It's going to be stressful.
But if you just actually have the conversation and take the time for the conversation, it diffuses a lot of times the situation.
On a level tone.
If it doesn't, then you need to evaluate that as well. Why would you put yourself in a toxic environment? Or why would you put yourself in a position, you or your family or whomever, in something that isn't there, right?
This is your holidays.
So maybe you need to evaluate. I mean, if it's somebody or something or that can be taken care of ahead of time, do that. But also, if it's not, and it's something that's a recurring thing year in and year out, maybe you need to create a boundary and to say, you know what, I'm not going to continue to play into that, right?
No.
I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to play elsewhere for right now until we can all get on the same page. Because you have to set the tone for that. And so if you've reached out and you've attempted to, mend fences and you've attempted to have the conversations beforehand, and if those haven't gotten you the result that you're looking for, then maybe you need to, change the dynamic in that a little bit.
Yeah, and by you not being there, it might make other people address what's going on because they want the family as a whole.
And so maybe. You never know, right? And so it depends on what is the challenge, right? Is it just something, someone just needs to say something and move on? Okay, then great, do that.
Does
if
it
it's
take
something
a hug?
that Right. If it's something that can be solved with a conversation, is it something that is, or have you made it bigger than what it is? Has the other person made it bigger than what? Do you not even know what the heck the challenge is to begin with? It's like you have to address this, but a lot of things can be solved with communication. But a communication is a giving and a receiving. And so if you're doing all the giving and you're not getting any receiving back with the communication, it's like you're talking, but the other person isn't. You're wanting to communicate. You're wanting to, fix this. The other person has to want that as well.
Right. Or you might have to say, what the hell is wrong with you? Instead of going the other route of like, hi, how are you today? And being ignored. Hi, are you having a good day? How are you? And ignore it. Be like, what the hell is wrong with you? What is going on? Tell me now.
And again, that would be the way you could handle certain conversations.
But
I wouldn't ever, though, address someone in a way like that unless it's time for that, right?
And not in the beginning.
No, and in the beginning, it's like, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm sensing. Can we address this, right? Because what you just said, if you say that to somebody, they're going to be on the defensive, right? And so you don't want to start a conversation off like that. But if there is a conversation like that needs to be had, because there's this cat and mouse game, or there's this pretend this way and act this way.
Or you just say, do you want to talk? Instead of what I said, do you want to talk or not?
Right.
Start like that. Do you want to chat or not, so we can adjust this? There's different levels and different ways of going about it.
It all depends on what's transpired.
When you're ignored, 5 times or more, then you need to start, if you want to keep that relationship or not. If you do want to mend something, you're going to have to reach out like that and go, do you want to fix this or not?
And sometimes, you know what? Time. That's what you need. And so if you feel like you've done a lot of reaching out and there hasn't been any reciprocation off that, then maybe you need to let that go for now.
Yep.
Right? Maybe they need to experience and feel
life without
something without you to see why they would want something with you, right? And so instead of always push, take a step back. Take yourself out of the equation for a while and let it just sit and be. And don't feel guilty and don't feel bad and don't feel, if you know that you've done what you can and the other person or the other party or the other whomever's it is are not on board with that, then it's time to take a step back and let them feel that for a while.
And reevaluate later.
Yep. So hopefully we've given you some insight. I don't know exactly, what the dynamic is. And so you're going to have to figure out for you, but this is definitely a difficult, conversation that a lot of people think is going to be a difficult conversation, but it's actually a conversation that hasn't been had.
Right.
But this is something that a lot of people have. And so if we can just address and have that conversation, a lot of times it changes it. If it doesn't though, then, continue moving on. What?
Toast.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Got to have some chai tea here. Alrighty, guys. That's festive right there. Next one. What are some effective ways to overcome the fear of failure? Well, I would say the fear of failure is not real, right? It's something. What is fear? Fear is something you think is going to happen, something that you've conjured up into your head, something you've made bigger than what it is. And so, how about you just feel the fear and do it anyways? How about you just get in action, and through the actions, the fear is going to dissipate, right? Because fear isn't real. And so if you know that something's not real, but when you sit in it and you overthink it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, versus if you start moving in the direction you're wanting to go, the fear goes by the wayside.
Right, because you already took those steps to go further ahead.
And as you're going down the path, you address whatever's coming your way at that moment, not stopping and saying, okay, well, what should I do? Oh my gosh, it's going to be so this or so that. It's like, no, just take the steps, right?
It's nervous energy because it's something new to you, or that you don't want to do the path. Just take the steps, and then the momentum will help you.
Right. It's about getting in motion.
It's addressing it.
The more that you can be in motion, the less fear that you have, because
and keep the emotion out of it.
you're moving, right? And so
Yes.
get into the action, get into the flow of actually doing what you want to do, and then you don't have time to overthink the fear that could possibly, maybe, perhaps show up one day if this happens and that. It's like, no, because you're
Yes.
moving, there's really no fear to be had. You just start, if there's a challenge or something, then you address that when you get to it. But then you're that for much further down the path anyways to be able to handle that, and you're more equipped to do that versus sitting and, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? What if it does? I mean, okay, so move.
What?
Just keep going.
You're going to learn from each lesson. So be okay with it.
So take the lesson and keep on moving. And so the main thing with this is don't let fear stop you or hold you back from going what you want. Push through, and then there really is no fear anyways because you've already done it.
Yes.
Fear is made in your head. Mm-hmm. How can I teach my children the true meaning of the holiday season? Well, I know, in this day and age, it's very commercialized and industrialized, and, Christmas, holidays, it can be about the stuff and the things and
Get away from that.
We get I know when I was younger, we had the Toys R Us book that came, here it is, right? Now it's like the Amazon book comes and they start picking out, I want this or I want that. It's not, what I would say
Just about
is
that.
you teach them throughout the year, not just now, about what things are about, right? And so if they're looking at it like, I want the presents, I want the biggest thing, I want the nuts on the tree, and can kids be like that? Yeah, I remember being like, okay, who's this or who's that? What's that for? Can I shake it and see what, all those kind of things, right? But it's like when you instill in them gratitude, and when you instill in them work ethic, and you instill in them love and
compassion.
kindness and all those things, right? That goes all year long. And so it shines brighter during this holiday season, but it's not a one and done, something that you teach them from, Thanksgiving to New Year's, and then, haphazardly throw it by the wayside the rest of the year. This is an ongoing thing. Love, kindness, compassion, generosity, shining your light.
And generosity is a big one, because that will help you for the holidays and past that as well. Learning to be genuine in every way possible.
And looking outside.
Genuine.
Outside yourself, right? Teaching them. It's not always about me.
No.
It's about about others, right? It's about how can I be the best me so that I can, the best version of me, so I can then give my best to others, right? To help, to lead, to guide, to direct, to show kindness, or just be a good friend, or be a good sibling, or do something. And so this is not, yes, you want to teach them that this year during the holidays. It's not just about the presents under the tree, or how many toys you get, or how many things you go to, or that's all nice, right? That's all fine and dandy. Nothing's wrong with that. However, when you can teach them throughout the year what it is to be a good person, really. I mean, when it comes down to it, you're teaching them love and compassion and generosity and gratitude, and how to be the best version of themselves by you being the best version of yourself. Then you're leading by example. And so as a byproduct, the holidays come, and then that as a spotlight even more so to shine what you've already been teaching them throughout the year.
And you can come together as a whole. When you're being generous, when you're being loving and caring, during the holidays, you'll come together as that family unit to do things together, to show your light everywhere you go, and to be able to help others around you.
And so, I'll give you a couple practical things. We have the kids go through, their closets, and they know that they're going to be getting some items, some toys, some whatever they have. And so they go through and say, okay, what am I not playing with anymore? What am I not using anymore? Yes. And so we can donate that, right, to someone who does need it. They also have money saved up in their piggy banks, and so we can go shopping and maybe get food or get toys or get some different items for children who don't have as much, or for families that don't have, who aren't as blessed and as abundant this particular year. We all have hard times at different times, right? And so, I would want someone to help us out and help if we were going through a time like that. And so showing your children that now, but also throughout the whole year, helps and instills.
And they'll stay with them.
And then as they grow and they leave your house, then they have those values and they have those traits, so they can then teach their children or people around them. And so it's a ripple effect, right? And so start now if you haven't done this already, but then continue this throughout the year, and then it continues to grow and expand, and then they start coming up with ideas. Well, how about we do this, or let's do that, or how about we go? And so they start coming up with ideas and things, and let them do that as well, right?
Yes, and make them create things and donate and
cards,
make cakes.
I mean,
and
one
pies.
year we asked for addresses of different veterans or people, and to the kids. Or we also one year we did older people who maybe don't have people to spend. Family, they don't have family around, and so the kids made all kinds of Christmas cards. Beautiful, it's a Merry Christmas on it, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, drew pictures, and then we mailed those off. And they just had something so simple, right? And even small children can doodle or draw or color and make something, and that just brightened people's day. We heard back from certain people; they wrote us back, and that really little things. It doesn't have to be some huge thing all the time. It's the little things that really make the difference. The unexpected.
People don't realize that.
It is
that it takes
just
less energy. Just takes great thought, thinking about it, and creating something out of the box.
Mm-hmm. Care packages, all kinds of little things. So
yes,
it's a year-round
ongoing process
thing, not just during the holidays. How can I set realistic goals for learning new skills? Well, I don't like to be realistic. We like to be unrealistic, right? We like to expand, and so
grow.
Push yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Realistic is like, what does that even mean? Realistic. I don't know what that means exactly,
because it's different. On the learning path.
It's different for each and every person. So, what are the things? Here's what I would say. What are the top 5 things that you want to learn, that you have a passion for? You're like, I've wanted to do this and I've wanted to do that. I know we had a episode specifically on learning new skills, but write down those things and then choose 1 or 2 of those things that you're going to go all in on right now, right? And so, do you need to hire somebody to help you with that? Do you need to take some trainings? Do you need to go some places? Do you need to get supplies? Like, what are you needing to do for that? And then devote time each and every week towards that.
You're going to even have to go outside yourself. You're going to have to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
With being uncomfortable.
And maybe look a little silly, feel a little silly. Who cares? You're
might
learning.
Have to jog only a block because you want to do, a marathon. Do a block first. Then go back. Each day. Then set time for yourself. Time yourself. How long did it take? Guess what? You're going to beat that time every time you go out. And then you're going to go further. And it just takes you getting out of your box and doing something new. Because you're going to be nervous. You're going to be scared. You're going to be anxious. You're not going to know what to do. But guess what? If somebody's training you, or if you're looking online and getting hints and learning by one, trainer or something, and then taking those steps. But you're going to have to get outside yourself, be nervous, be scared, and go past it and do it.
And you're going to have to invest into yourself, because you can find a lot of things online, and you can find tips. But if you can go direct to the source and say, okay, look, this is what I'm wanting to do. This is what help me. And they'll be like, great, here you go. Here's your plan.
They're going to set you
Here's
a whole
what you
plan.
need to do. Go, right? And then they're going to help you along the way. And so anytime that you can invest in yourself, right, by having someone on your team or having someone help you in something that they have a skill set in, makes that process a lot easier for you and a lot quicker too, because you're not having to, well, should I do this or how should I do that? It's like, no, you have because you have paid someone, right? You've invested in yourself by paying someone to give you their knowledge. And so do that. Don't be like, well, I'm going to figure it out on my own.
Because you're looking online at something, but you didn't know you had to stretch first.
Right.
So you pulled something or hurt something really bad.
Or, maybe you want to learn how to ride a horse, or, how do you do that? What do you do? What gear do you need?
You better get a trainer for that.
So the same thing with like instruments, could you find something online to play an instrument? Yeah, but if you went direct to someone who's right there
to guide your fingers
like,
where to go.
Do this, do that, don't do this, less of that. Like all of these things. And so invest in yourself by hiring somebody who can help you, and that will expedite it. And that's it'll become more realistic, because you'll actually
they're on the way.
Doing it because they're helping push you and guide you.
They knocked on your door.
Yep. Or you went to them and knocked on theirs. All right. What are some strategies for avoiding the post-holiday burnout? Well, I didn't even know there was such a thing as post-holiday burnout, but I think I understand what they're saying. So
Tell us.
Post-holiday burnout.
Tell us.
Meaning, from Halloween to New Year's Eve, you have run yourself ragged, going here, there, and everywhere, seeing people you didn't want to see, going to places you didn't want to go, drinking stuff you didn't want to drink, eating food you didn't want to eat, and you did it anyways because you couldn't say no. And you couldn't prioritize yourself, so you have run yourself ragged doing all of these things. And so now come January, you are burnt out, meaning you are
not
exhausted.
Knowing what you want to do for
you
yourself.
are depleted. You feel like crap because you've eaten crap and drank crap, and you haven't slept, and you haven't worked out, and you haven't done all the things, and you're just
don't like the way you look.
And here it is, a new year, and you feel shittier than last year. So the way that you avoid that is by not doing that. Okay?
Do a few things.
You select the things that you want to do, you prioritize the things that you want to do, and you let go of the rest. There's no guilt, there's no nothing, you just let it go.
Yes.
You also keep the commitments you've made to yourself. So you still work out, you still get up, you still read, you still drink your water, you still eat good food most of the time. Now if you're going to a party and you want to splurge or indulge, hey,
live life.
That's fine, right? But get back on track the next day. Don't say, well, last night I ate like crap, so I'm going to eat like crap until the end of the year. No.
Oh, no.
Do a few things and then get back on. So that way it's not weeks and months of all of this. It's a little bit here, a little bit there.
So
you're
feeding
able to
yourself
enjoy.
properly.
And so when the new year comes, you aren't over-alcoholed, right? Underfed, but over-caloried. You aren't sleep deprived.
Right.
You aren't like running ragged, like just leave me alone.
Eating all the crap.
Like because you've done the things you want to do, but you've kept the commitments you made to yourself, even through the holidays. And so now you're actually feeling good going into the new year.
You'll be proud of yourself.
Instead of feeling burnt out and like you just want to, curl up in a ball and go to sleep
no
until
balls.
next year, right? That's not what you want. So it starts now. To avoid that, you avoid the things that are going to get you down that path. And so evaluate, did this happen to you last year? Are you planning on that happening to you this year?
Just do a full stop.
Nothing happens to you, right? It's the choices that you
Yes.
make and the decisions that you take and partake in that get you the result. And so if you don't want to feel burnt out, and you don't want to feel tired, and you don't want to feel lethargic, and you don't want to feel like blah, and you don't want to, be hungover.
Learn to say no.
Well, then say no, set boundaries, make decisions, prioritize yourself, and move forward accordingly.
And don't set too many things up for 1 week. Spread it out. Okay, I have 3 things to go to before the end of the year. Perfect, not 10.
Right. So you set yourself up for this burnout that you're doing, and so don't do that, right?
Right, and don't stay till the end of the party either.
Yeah, sometimes you can go.
Just go, have fun,
hang
and then
out,
take off.
and then leave. You don't have to stay until they close up shop and turn the lights off.
Right.
And the cleanup crew's coming in.
Yeah.
No, like leave when you want to leave. You said your hellos, you associated,
Yep,
and
you
then
had a
you
good
moved
time.
on. So again, this is all about you taking control of yourself, taking control of your actions and your decisions, and
Watch
leading
what you eat,
yourself.
watch what you drink.
Yep. And watch what you continually do. Are you drinking water? Are you hydrating yourself? Are you eating good food? Most of the time, if you want to, have these few things, okay, great. But most of the time you're on track, you'll feel better coming out at the beginning of the year.
And you might have to bring your own water and snacks.
Mm-hmm. Don't go extra
It's
hungry
okay.
at some of these parties either. If you know you're just ravenous and you're going to,
Eat everything.
then maybe have a
beforehand.
little something beforehand so that you can make better decisions.
Have your meal beforehand, no matter what.
All right, how can I increase my self-confidence in the learning process? The way that you increase your self-confidence is by doing it, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna feel clunky and you're gonna stumble and you're not gonna know what the heck you're doing. That's part of learning something new.
Yes.
Embrace that. Be like,
Yes,
hey.
I'm finding my voice, so I
Right.
have to sing more.
Yeah, all of a sudden he decided.
All of a sudden.
he has a voice.
Yes.
And he's gonna. So it's like, okay, well, how do you get better
practice.
at singing? Yes, sing more.
Yes.
Right? Are you gonna hit every note? Are you gonna sound perfect? No. Okay, right? The same thing like when you first start working out. Are you great at all that stuff? No. But the more you do it, you figure out the things that are working best for you. You figure out how to do them. You figure all of these things. And so the only way to get past that is through the action. You see a theme
Steps,
here? It's
action.
the action. And that's why I talk about talk, plan,
and
take action.
action.
You can talk about learning something. You can put together a plan of learning something. But if you don't take consistent action on it,
It's
you're
just
never going to learn
sit
it.
on paper.
It's going to be just like, oh, that sounds nice.
Look what I had written down.
This is good.
And somebody said, "Did you do it?" Nope, not yet.
And so the way you instill self-confidence in yourself is by developing that skill in what you're wanting to do, which means feeling awkward, feeling uncomfortable, going through the unknown, and coming out the other side.
Each week, you're going to get better and better.
Yep. Each and every. Here we go. Last one, guys. What are some practical tips for slowing down and enjoying the season?
Taking a breath. By already having things planned out. This is going to help a lot.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the questions that we answered kind of help with this. Is like, it's not about running a marathon during the holidays. It's about, yeah, you might have some days that are a little busier than others. You might have more going on than what you normally do in your schedule. That's part of the season.
But you're already set up correctly.
But you set yourself up to be able to handle that, to be able to come out the other side, to be able to enjoy and to have those memories, and then look back at that and say, you know what, that was a wonderful holiday season.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that. We should do more of this next year. We should do more of that. We should,
yes.
like, you
Maybe
set
Carol.
you set it up for yourself on what you're wanting to do by how you navigate, right? And again, like we talked about before, not saying yes to everything, choosing the things that you
Backing
really
off.
want to do. Don't feel guilty or bad to say no, because then you're going to enjoy everything that you are doing because you actually made a conscious decision to do the thing that you are doing. Not just feeling like, I've got to do this.
And saying, I'll get back to you. Instead of saying yes, no,
Let me
yes,
check my
yes,
schedule.
yes, no, no, no. Let me check.
Yeah.
Get back to you so you can schedule it out properly.
Right. And again, this is all about you. These are your holidays. This is your family.
Who do
These
you
are
wanna
your
be with?
memories. Who do you want to spend your time with? What do you want to be doing? What memories do you want to create? Slow down, right? We can get going really fast. It can seem like, okay, they come and go really quickly, right? And so if you slow down and you really enjoy and embrace this time of year, it helps. Just like anything
It's
in life.
going to get better every
the
year.
more that you embrace it and the more that you experience it and the more of that you can enjoy as well as the season goes along.
Correct.
All right, guys, thank you so much for
Appreciate
your
you.
questions. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes, keep sending them.
Yep, keep sending in your questions so we can answer those next on another Q&A episode
Yes,
for
and
you.
share.
And share this out with your friends and family. It helps us to continue to grow a thriving can-do community. And in the meantime, guys, have an awesome day. We love you.
care.
And remember, we can do it, and so can you. Bye, guys.
Bye.